This is Daybreak. We're on the newspaper review. The story on page number 10 of the Daily Nation, page number 8 of the Standard. Daily Nation, women MPs rally behind gender bill against wave of opposition. I'll just read the intro. The story by David Murray. Women MPs have defended the gender bill, saying that it will not benefit slay queens, in quotes, or girlfriends and boyfriends of the political and business class, as insinuated by some of their male colleagues. One of those, let me use this word so that I'm not, it doesn't pour water on me, allegedly insinuated this. Is here, in fact, we have that bite, I gather. Right, let's take a look.
Bill, therefore, Mr. Speaker, is indeed the legislative mechanism upon which the two-thirds gender rule is to be achieved and realized.
Discrimination or disadvantaging any group of Kenyans in whichever way, whether they are disabled, whether they are youth, whether they are women or men, that must be corrected, and corrected the earliest time possible.
I know for a fact that women suffer in the hands of party leaders, the chairman of the parties, the secretary generals of the parties. And I know for a fact, Mr. Speaker, and I have evidence that there is a secretary general of a party who nominated himself, his mother-in-law, and his second wife.
It is for the slay queens to slay their way into the National Assembly, to massage their way into the Senate, and slay their way into County Assembly. Honorable Speaker, then I do have some reservation.
When I hear members talking about slay queens, I would like to ask nominee number 001, now that he's a nominated member, can he tell this House whether he's a slay king? And which favors did he give to his political party to nominate him?
And we elect 50 next time, the numbers to top up will actually go down.
That several of us who have come this way were first nominated. So yes, I have been elected twice, but I was elected twice having first been nominated as a member of parliament.
Who should I start with?
Start with the slay king. Start with the slay king.
Let me tell you, Hussein, you know, I cannot be a slay king with my crutches. How do I slay with my crutches, surely? You know, Millie.
You know, I was telling him off air that he is the one who can actually fit completely the description of a slay king with his crutches. Because he actually slays when he's walking. So he's actually the slay king. So I think that is on a light note.
Okay. Without any offense to our...
without any offense to all my brothers and sisters who have disabilities.
Right.
But I want to say that really, first of all, the headline is misleading. Women MPs are not rallying behind the bill against a wave of opposition. Why? Because even from the clip that you have shown, there are quite a number of male MPs who are supporting. So it should actually be, you know, if you are being gender sensitive, then because we should actually say that MPs rally against
not women MPs.
Not women MPs,
right.
Because it's both men and women, and it's a gender bill, it's not a women bill. Why? Because there will come a time when there are more men, or rather more women elected than men.
Yeah.
In fact, yesterday, one of the members, male members from Murang'a County, started giving his contribution, which I think he will continue with today, and he was actually giving an example that Murang'a is actually almost on its way to a place where the men may need that affirmative action in perhaps 20 years.
Yeah.
Because they have a women rep and 3 elected women in single constituencies. So it actually puts them almost at 50-50. It's the same thing at Homa Bay County. We are almost 50-50. We are not exactly 50 because the single constituencies are 8.
Yeah.
Actually, we are, because then we have the women rep plus 3, that's 4, almost 50.
Yeah.
So the men are 1 more than us. But that tells you that if we give women a chance, like I was given a chance in Homa Bay County, I was first nominated, then I was elected, and because I was elected, people have seen the capability of women. Gladys Wanga was also elected as a women rep. People have seen the capabilities of women in especially legislative and national roles, and because of that, then we are able to, you know, the constituents are able to entrust more women with positions which are elective. And if that trend goes, then we'll be able to bring more women without this. That's why this is actually a temporary measure. It is not a permanent measure.
Right.
The only caution for me I have for us women is that once you get your opportunity through affirmative action, whether it is as 47, whether it is nominated as Millie, once you get into these positions where now you want to go for either single constituency or other competitive position, then you cannot walk with the language of affirmative action. You have learned, and it has to be about performance. Affirmative action ends there. And you must, like me, Millie, I can't come and tell bitter people, elect me because I'm a woman. No, elect me because of what I have done. And
that's a very
my
interesting
performance.
That's a very interesting point that I was going to bring about later. And I was asking them before you came here whether roles should be defined first, or does it work like his position first and roles later? But let's hear from Honorable Sankok. I don't know why you had to make these remarks about slay queens and why you're really worried about that.
You know, Hussein, you only took a small caption, but from my explanation, I said that my party position is that they support the gender bill because it is actually brought by the majority leader. And even the position of nominee 001 is that I support this bill, but with reservation. Reservation that we should have a mosaic representation of women in that particular gender top-up. I suggested that we should have 30% women with disabilities, 30% of them being women who are youth, 30% being women from rural areas, who knows how to carry kuni on their backs, who knows how to carry mutungi ya maji kutoka mtoni, because they are the ones that will legislate for the benefit of their women folk. I also said now the remaining 10%, then we can share among those who normally slay their way into the National Assembly.
What do you mean? I mean, you keep saying that.
No,
that's why I'm asking you why you.
Yes, I'm saying. You know, there was you have heard of that issue of somebody nominating a sister. You know, is it a girlfriend nominating a mother-in-law?
Relatives.
Relatives. You have heard of somebody who have nominated somebody so that they can share the salary. You have heard all those rumors. So I really didn't know why women were complaining, while women MPs were complaining, while I'm actually protecting them. Honorable Millie, for sure, I'm protecting you so that you, as a leader, who is a leader of integrity, you can get that particular opportunity. But not those leaders not those who are actually slay queens. I'm telling you, Millie, you know, when I'm supporting women with disability, of course they should be happy. When I'm supporting women from rural areas, they should also be happy. When I'm supporting women who are youth, everybody should be happy. But those who will be annoyed are those that I'm fighting against. And those who I'm fighting against are those who don't have characteristics of leadership. So I was worried.
So the only thing, can I tell you, I agree with Mheshimiwa, up to the point that he supports a percentage going to rural women, going to women with the disabilities. Some of us actually fought very hard for the inclusion of persons with a disability. That is why it is in the Constitution. And that is why you are in Parliament, because we have fought this war for many years. But when you start a narrative of using the terminology slay queen, especially for prospective members of Parliament, then it is counterproductive, because it actually creates a gendered war, especially against women. And the reason why is because the example that you are giving, where there was let me just finish, where there was allegedly a member, the one that you made reference to, who came in and was giving his salaries, it was actually a man. So if you are talking about slay, then say slay queen and slay king. Then you are.
I left that one for you to now mention the slay king. You know, I don't have to mention everything because the bill is not only me.
Let us not use a gendered term that is negative.
I didn't even
let us not use a term that is not.
Even all these women that will be nominated for the gender top-up should be women of integrity. Women
that is good. Leave it there.
They should,
Don't talk silly.
We should revoke chapter 6.
Honorable Millie Odhiambo's reservations and many others, including mine.
Yes.
Why use the word slay queen? That is why slay queen? I mean, if it's about appointing a mother-in-law or a sister,
the mother-in-law did not slay with the son-in-law, surely. Because slay has taken a concept and connotation in this country.
The point is, you could have used another word like nepotism.
Yes.
Why slay queen?
Let me tell you, Hussein, the problem is that you are blowing this thing out of proportion. And the problem is that you are now reading my mind. That's what I meant by slave. Why are you, have you become a prophet?
No, what did you
that is what I'm
slave
telling
queen?
you, that we need women who have, who are women with integrity. In fact, I went ahead and said that chapter 6 should also be evoked on women, because these men, let me assure you, they are suffering in silence. But I am their voice, because let me tell you, Hussein, there are those who actually blackmail men who get kids with with several men, and since you don't want to be known, that you don't want this information to come out, so you are told this is your kid, and the same kid is saying that it is for somebody else. Almost 5 men are sending upkeep for only 1 kid.
But did you as a man pass there? Did you pass there?
And then some of them,
so you are not being blackmailed.
And that's what I was saying, that they should not be nominated, those ones. And I don't know why those who are women with integrity are excited or irritated. They should actually be happy.
No, not when you use a term.
Not
when you use a term that goes against the principles of dignity, that goes against human rights of women, that stereotypes women as slay queens, because
anytime
I was not a slay queen.
Have a case in court because of child upkeep or of siring outside the wedlock, you know what will normally happen is that chapter 6 is evoked, FIDA, women lawyers come. Why are men not talking when you people are evoking chapter 6 on us?
Maybe because
chapter 6, the issue is, you know, now because of DNA we can tell whether you have graced anywhere. So and what we are the one to encourage you.
And that is what I propose to say.
0 grace.
That is why I propose also. No. That is why I propose to say just 1 point. Just 1 point. Just 1 point. So I also propose that women should be should also 0 grace. If there is a woman who is not married and have kids, all kids should be taken to DNA so that they are from one man. If they are from different sources, then they are also not. They have not also met the integrity.
This is degenerating into something else. Okay. The point is, yes. They don't say slay kings. The point is the terminology slay queen. That is their issue. That maybe you should not have used.
Hussein, can you describe the meaning of slay king?
Yes,
you don't want to regret that.
Yes, describe it.
I will describe for you the meaning of slay queen from what has been going on in the country. A slay queen is another terminology. No. I'm speaking as a lawyer from the perception, because sometimes we infer from what people say and allude to, because there is no constitutional or legal definition of slay queen.
Yesterday
you
almost snatched my crutches because you wanted to fight me.
Okay. I think let me move to the left now.
Slay queen is a term that is used for a prostitute.
No.
Yeah. No. It's another terminology for a prostitute.
I even said they massage their way into the Senate.
Did you hear what she said?
Yes, slay queen has been taken to mean a prostitute.
That is according to you. But according to me, it's not that way.
Oh, so it is a pastor.
At your pastor?
Yeah.
But the point is, why did you use words like nepotism or corruption or such and such?
What is it? Your girlfriend, are you related with your girlfriend so that you can be practicing nepotism, my friend?
He doesn't have a girlfriend, he has a wife.
No, I'm just giving reference. If I have a girlfriend, am I practicing nepotism if I have to nominate her? No. That is not nepotism. It is nominating slay queens.
You're abusing. I mean, if you are a member or leader of a party, you're abusing.
But by the way, if I'm fighting, I'm abusing. I'm abusing by nominating a slay queen, not
you see, my sister. There's a reason why I told either you or Matangi to sit in between.
Yes, you did.
I knew what I was saying.
We should have sat. Yeah.
But I told you I can manage him.
Yes. Hussein,
I can manage a slay king.
For me, I want to categorically state that I support the 2/3 gender bill for actually about 3 reasons. And I won't go into the nitty-gritty of my brother Sankok. Number 1, we passed a constitution. there has been a review from the Supreme Court of the same matter about the two-third gender bill. The recommendation was that yes, let's do it gradually and reach a stage whereby we adopt whatever that was. The truth is the Constitution may have had issues within itself which many Kenyans may not agree with, and there's the 20% which we always talk about. The reason I support this bill is, number one, the number of members of parliament who will be nominated from is number one. The number of people who will be nominated has come down to about 22, 23. It's not going to cost the wage bill. It's not going to make anybody feel that.
Some still feel.
Yes,
some still feel
but
it's not good for Kenya.
That is true.
Struggling with the rising wage.
The second issue is that I feel that if we pass this bill, we make our madams, our members of parliament, feel much more included in the exercise of managing the affairs of our state and our country. And for me, I don't see why men feel threatened. Women are 50% of the population of this country. It doesn't make sense, anything that we are going to do whereby we actually exclusively, either inadvertently or by omission and commission, neglect 50% of that population. Finally, I think what I want to raise is that yes, there are critical issues which have been raised by our colleagues, including Honorable Sankok. Even when I may not want to say or raise the bar for women representatives, whether they are at the county governments or whether they are in our own parliament here or whether they are in National Assembly, Senate and Parliament. I think our women representative, like Honorable Millie has said, the expectation of the Kenyan public is much higher than for male representatives. The reason is, I can give you an example. There have been issues being raised in Parliament, genuine or not, but these are very legitimate issues as far as I'm concerned. I'll give you an example. I'm in the Budget Committee. We don't have a single woman member in that committee. And yet the Budget Committee is where all the state resources are distributed from. There have been issues raised about members of Parliament, even members in the Senate, members of the National Assembly, Parliament and Senate, from the other gender, the women representatives, not attending functions, making trips abroad, not actually looking that they are the trailblazers, they are the people who have been given this responsibility. Can they therefore take it upon themselves that they actually learn what happens in this male-dominated world of politics so that they can be the role models for our daughters and our sisters when they get into this office? So these are issues which are being raised, but I still insist, to me, I will vote for this bill. I really want to persuade my male colleagues not to feel threatened by responsibilities being given to our women leaders. The issues of who is going to be slay queen and slay king, as far as I'm concerned, is a discussion for another day. I just think that it means well. And finally, I'm a member of Fort Kenya, and the party position of Fort Kenya is that we will support the bill.
Right. But I mean, you just brought up a point that it looks like the lens is on the women, especially the ones coming in through affirmative action.
Yes.
That you're going for trips, you're not really attending all the functions.
Yes.
I mean, they also have a point when they say they are also male MPs who are nominated. Why are we not raising these issues about them, like you?
Because we are discussing gender. We are discussing gender top-up, and when we are discussing gender top-up, at the moment in Kenya, the top-up will be from women.
Let me
just
for now.
We don't know how the elections are coming. We might all
for
be
now.
all.
For now.
Let me do a small addendum. Let me tell you what I'm saying, Hussein. The black community in America, the affirmative action laws which were introduced after the 1969, 1970, were geared towards enabling black leadership, whether male or female, to have opportunities for them to be members of Congress and members of the Senate if they were given an equal opportunity in America and if conditions were changed. The standard for the black members of Congress and leaders who needed offices in the American body politic were much higher than the ordinary American citizen. That was not because the other side was not having the same iniquities and having bad management and whatever, but the standard is always higher when you are given a privilege and when the law is the law is designed in such a manner that is enabling you. For me, like Madam Millie has said, and many other leaders that we have now, your performance, Madam Millie, is above board. You can be voted for even in Nairobi or even in Mombasa because people know you, they see your articulation, your involvement in parliament. What I'm saying is there aren't too many women leaders like you. Not that the standard should be any different from the males, but what we are saying is that more women elected leaders need to come up and talk more and scintillate more and bring issues which affect women so that then we can push our country forward. Okay. I don't know whether I've been able to make
I think, fine, Hussein. First, I think it's important to remember that this is the third time that this bill is coming to Parliament. Yeah. And during the last debate, there was almost equal lobbying, almost similar support, so to say, and there were lots of caucuses all over to support this bill. But finally, it did not pass, the last time. And then I was watching the debate yesterday and listening to members inside and outside Parliament. And I hope and I believe, as Mheshimiwa Manyonka says, that truly then this time, that people will be true to their word and support that bill. Otherwise, if it becomes just like the last time it had a lot of support outside, inside, but when it came to the voting, the story was different. Now the pertinent question, if you asked me, Hussein, I would be asking is this. Just a few weeks ago, almost a month ago, remember the debate that was all over this country about constitutional review and reforms? And part of what the debate was centered around, and it became very sensitive to members of the public, is the wage bill. And what the proponents, most of them, of constitutional reform were saying is that, there were the slogans of Punda Mechoka, there were slogans of we are paying so much. And then I was asking myself this question, as a well-meaning person, was this the right timing for bringing this bill? Because, once first you have hyped the people and about the sensitivity of having a bloated parliament and people paying too much, then within a few weeks, then you have the bill on the table. When that is still fresh in the minds of people, then you'd be asking, was it sensitive to bring it this time? Maybe if you ask the ordinary man on the street after what he had a few weeks ago, and then ask them today what they think about the conversation that's going on, we could be walking through different paths. I mean, we want to satisfy the constitutional threshold and requirement that we have a 2/3 representation. But then also, Hussein, let's also be true to what we are saying, that in most government organs and bodies, and I can tell you for sure, you can just scrutinize, I know you do a lot of research in your interviews, look at, for example, all boards, sitting boards, probably more than 70% of all boards are not compliant.
There's no doubt about that.
Yes. They don't have balance. So you'd be asking yourself, how far do you want to walk that journey? Then the last point maybe I would want to make is that there is a part that during this debate and campaign that's not being brought out, that this bill has been introduced with a proposition for a sunset clause. So that within a certain time, then it will automatically fuse out, die out, and then members of parliament, of the female gender now would have to fight it out with men. I think that's an important part that should also be brought out, that it also envisages that this is not a scenario that can last forever in our constitution or in our laws, such that then it gets to that time when everybody has got to get into the field and compete. I think if then all people and sides remain true to this debate, then you may find it might see the light of day. Honorable Sankok, as you are passionately debating, Millie, I was looking at the dictionary here on the meaning of slavery.
Yeah, thank you.
And you know, the dictionary here says that there are no known definitions available for slay queen.
Yeah.
So why are they accusing me?
Yeah, but I'm saying from perception.
I mean,
I was clear.
Yeah, so, I mean, I was just saying, so it is limited to the perception of the person who is using the term.
So
and I hope your perception.
I
hope your perception is one that is not demeaning of women.
Okay.
One
of the issues that was raised by Sankok and other MPs, the few that we saw publicly saying they have reservations or don't support this amendment. One is the issues about middle-class women getting most of the seats. And actually, he talked about this and saying it should ultimately not even be very representative among the women or amongst the women that are supposed to get these seats for affirmative action. And then number two, that there exists, now that there's no formula, it could be abused by parties.
Yes.
And there's no doubt that our parties are not saints, just like elsewhere in the world. I mean, they're run by individuals and human beings who can do whatever they want from time to time, and they abuse their power sometimes. So, are you concerned about that? Is that a genuine concern?
Well, I could tell you that I would be concerned if I'm not a member of parliament. But being a member of parliament, I know that once we enunciate a principle in the constitution, it is up to us to come with the law that operationalizes it. And therefore, I wouldn't be unduly worried, because it is for us then to provide a legal framework or an enabling law that will provide the 30% women with a disability, 30% women who are not middle class, 30% women who are youth, 20% disability, and all the categories that we want, provided. I can tell you for a fact, even I would be hesitant if I knew that we didn't have a way out, that if you left it open, then it would be very subject to abuse. But as Parliament, we have, the ability to come up with an enabling legislation that can then guide our parties, and then we don't have cases like the one that Honorable, I don't know if it was Honorable Nyonka who referred, or it's Honorable Sankok that was saying somebody nominated the mother-in-law, the sister-in-law, and all that. Even I actually, personally, I went and confronted the member whose name they were shouting. I said, is it true that you have nominated your mother-in-law and blah, blah, blah?
Very true.
Of course, he disowned and said, no, that is not correct.
It has been said.
If you ask me,
5 of their brothers and
it has been said.
That actually would, if you ask me, that is something that should be referred to the DPP. Because it's definitely a Chapter 6 issue.
Right. Maybe
it has been said to be happening a lot, especially in
that for me is a form of corruption.
That
is a form of corruption, if you ask
me.
We need even our courts. This is where the courts would help us. That if you have courts that give a wider interpretations to certain tasks, especially where Parliament is not willing to be that liberal with Chapter 6, then the courts can actually then, in the application of the law, have wider interpretation, so that if you are one person and you are in a position to nominate, and you nominate your mother-in-law, your sister-in-law, your father-in-law, your daughter, your uncles, and whatever, that qualifies as corruption, if you ask me.
Well, I think what I wanted to say, I remember there was a time nominated members of parliament in the National Assembly actually confronted one of the parties, and I have not heard, my two colleagues here speaking about it, because the party had nominated the same person 3 times continuously. They were going to nominate the same person, I think, 4 times. And that has also happened, actually, even in I remember sometimes there was the same debate in the party where Millie comes from. And it was also a big debate. I think what you spoke about, Hussein, is very, very important, because unless there is equal reform within the Political Parties Act, then a lot of abuse would come from the party itself, even if you attained this through parliament by availing that 2/3 gender rule. I mean, as if parties are not controlled, then what you would find is that what you're trying to avoid would now be done by political parties under the umbrella of the law.
Right.
I mean, and then the slaying that he's talking about would now be a party business.
The small issue I want to add on to what he's saying. Look at our political parties. All of them They have no women leaders at the top. They have no women leaders at the county level. I mean, the truth is, we talk about gender issues. We talk about, oh, we want this, we want to change this, we want to bring our women on board. And yet the truth is, look at all the 5 major political parties. None of them has got an SG. None of them has got a chairman. None of them has got a treasurer who is in those positions. So let even our leadership at the top begin to walk the talk.
I'll let you have the final word. Honorable Millie Odhiambo, finally. I mean, you brought in an interesting point when you said affirmative action ends for that individual when they go to parliament, for example. From then on, they should now work.
Yes.
I mean, that's an interesting point you bring, because there are those who think, yes, this is a constitutional provision. It is important to have everybody represented, but they wonder why give these positions without even, I mean, just because somebody's a woman. And my question to you is, looking back, because you've been nominated before.
Yes.
You are now an elected member for twice. And congratulations for that. It doesn't happen very easily. But looking at where we've come from, the latest we had on affirmative action, the nominated MPs, and the 47 women representatives, do you think they've done well after the affirmative action, when they went into their jobs? Do you think they did well?
Well, what I can tell you is that after nomination, as I've said, you are given that platform. It gives you a platform to learn. That's actually the essence. To learn, and also for the public to demystify issues about women's leadership. So it actually gives you a platform from which you can actually, launch yourself in terms of your political career. And there are many, many women who have actually done that. And I'll give you an example. Can I give you an example?
Yeah, sure.
I can give you an example of Honorable Korere, who was nominated from a minority community. She's actually the first
woman elected MP,
from her area. I can give you another example of Honorable Lesuda, who was nominated as a senator. And because she made sure she took that platform and used it well, she's now back as elected on a single constituency. I can give you the example of Honorable Martha Wangari, who was also nominated. And she used it to support, because you must know when you come, what your platform and limitations are at that point. And therefore, there are many of them who have then translated that into other positions. There are others who came in, as nominated, different positions that have used it to translate. So it's really an individual position. There are others, of course, who came in and decided they are relaxing and they do not want to take that advantage.
Probably the question Millie, would be this, maybe that you would add to what you're saying, because I think in the viewer's mind, Hussein, are you saying, or rather are we saying, that once a nominated member of parliament has gotten that opportunity, what it is that they get? An opportunity to demonstrate their leadership, or is it an opportunity to amass some resources that they can use to campaign? After because I mean, if the second or the latter is true, then you would be saying that political parties would be better advised than to set aside a kitty.
It's not about resources.
And give it to women.
I've not talked about resources. Yeah. I will say, I'll give myself as an example.
Just trying to make an interpretation from the trend.
No, I will give my, can I give my example?
Yeah, sure.
I'll give you a chance, Mweshimo, after giving my example. When I was given that platform, I served my party well. And when I served my party well, I can tell you by the time I was landing in Mbita, I was at 90% popularity because of the work I was doing for my party. And I didn't need to have money to go there. It is because I did work for fishermen, I did work for women, I did work for youth, I did work for children within that national platform. I didn't need money, so it's not that. But I want to say something. Can I just say something? Because we don't have, because we don't have time, and there's something that we can't let to pass. That especially members who are saying that women MPs would go out on trips. I can assure you that every time I've gone on a parliamentary trip, because we don't create trips for ourselves, and they're official trips. When you go on those official trips, women are usually the minority. You'll find that out of a group of 10, women will be 1 or 2. So it's about men and women.
Honorable Sankok, I want to say this because this is so important. The reason why, Madam Millie, Your Excellency, why you have this noise from the male members of parliament as we speak right now is simply what actually you've narrated. that women get an opportunity, they get nominated into parliament, they start building themselves, which is legitimate. There's absolutely no issues about how they build themselves and come in through the parties, they work, they pick a profile. Then they now have an opportunity and they are able to remove the men legislature.
To compete with the men.
Yes. And that is actually one of the biggest challenges that we have today.
That is true.
Yes.
That is true.
Yes. As you wind up,
Yes, as I wind up. Hussein, let me tell my colleague, Honorable Millie, that if there is anybody who respects women, it is Sangoko. And all female MPs who are in parliament, as much as I know, they are women of integrity. Even their party knows. Even the electorate knows, for those who are elected and for those who are nominated. They know they are women of integrity. And they should not get irritated by my statement of closing the doors for the so-called slave queens. In fact, they should be supporting me. Unless now they want to confirm my worst fears, that probably they also had a way of coming into parliament. And that is why I'm saying, once these nomination slots or these gender top-up slots are described on the way of division, so that that woman who gives birth in a manyata, on a cowhide, because of lack of money, or going to hospital, is also represented.
Yes.
That woman who have been carrying that mutungi of water can also be represented.
Well,
that woman who is
a things that can be talked about immediately after, isn't it?
Yeah,
by law.
You know,
does that satisfy you?
That, you know, this journey started a long time ago. And I remember when we met with the National Gender and Equality Commission, unfortunately it became National Gender Women Commission. They were no longer issues of equality. And we tried to explain to them that unless you put these things in place, because the moment they tell us that we will later on put a legislative framework, these things will just fizzle out.
Okay,
so how can they fizzle out when you are a member of parliament?
I'm telling you.
As a nominated member, I passed several pieces, so you can bring it as a private member.
I support this bill, but these are the reservations that Kenyans should be worried of, that we need that particular representation. And the last thing is that Hussein, surely, in the public domain, it is true. Punda imechoka. Waheshimiwa wamekuwa wengi kuliko raia. Kila mtu anajiita mheshimiwa. So kuongeza again, of course, the public will not take it.
So now you have another reason why.
He's adding the
but I'm supporting.
You're still supporting.
I'm supporting.
That's just shocking.
He's supporting. He's supporting. You know, it's like it's a person who invites you in your house and offers you porridge and says, I can see you are very hungry, have this porridge, but it is a poison. So he's actually giving us a poison challenge.
It is you. Which angle are you viewing it?
To watch. I'll take a look. Look at.
And thank you, Honorable. And thank you, Honorable Omatangi, for that description of the slave queen from the dictionary.
Lack of description.
So that for me, I describe it. I had my own meaning. You have your own meaning.
But is your meaning generally positive or negative?
Very positive for women. Very positive.
So you think slave queen is a positive thing?
According to me, and since there is no official definition from the dictionary, then your own definition is yours, my own definition is mine.
We'll be on the lookout at how you vote, ultimately, I promise you that. But do you think this is going to pass or not? Just yes or no? Will this pass or not? From what you've seen in Parliament?
Who said, these men are suffering in silence. I'm 100% sure. Let the voting time come. They will not vote. They will be full in the toilets, they will be full taking tea. Some of them watajipatia shughuli.
You don't think it will pass?
Watajipatia shughuli. Ipite yeyenda wapi? Lakini mimi nda support.
What I can tell you,
I think there's a lot of contradiction from Honorable Sankok playing around with his words.
Let the man up and come to the floor. Man up and come to the floor.
My president supports.
What I can tell you is I would encourage the men to man up. You are elected by your people. Me as Millie Odhiambo, I don't shy for anything. Come and either oppose or support. But this business of men going to the toilets, as he says, is cowardly. And you really have no business of being elected if you cannot take a firm position on any issue.
It is going to pass.
For me, my biggest supporter ever since I got into politics has always been my mother. She is an incredible woman. And she told me if there's anything I can do for her, is to vote for this bill. And I think I will vote for it. I really am going to try and persuade my colleagues so that we can vote for this bill.
Okay. Senator Matangi, from what you think, do you think it's going to pass?
Well, because it's
there's history already.
Well, it's in the National Assembly, so I'll just be watching.
You're also an MP. You're a senator. And from your analysis of what you're saying,
I think I will vote. I think. You know, he's still thinking.
No, but it's
you say I think
No, I say I will vote.
Okay.
Well,
it's very sure.
I think you know, if these men be true, what they're saying, then
you don't think it's going to pass.
But I saw them, you know, as I was walking around Parliament during the debate, as the debate was going on, and I would be hearing some of the whispers that were whispering around the corners. So you know, I hope they'll change their minds.
Hussein, nonetheless, we will soldier on, regardless. Right. We will soldier on. We are very hopeful that the men will change their minds this time and that they will support us. But I want to encourage the men: do not shy. Come to the house, vote either way.
Give me a percentage of women with disability. Give me a percentage of women who are youth. Give me a percentage of women from rural areas. I'll support 100%.
But now that you don't have
that, I am from a rural area.
Now that you don't have that,
Suba is a rural area.
Are you nominated? You are not nominated.
I was originally nominated.
But we are talking
from
about,
a rural area.
We are talking about moving into the future.
Now that we don't have those.
Even you are around 1% from the rural area. Now I want 30%. I have described.
Leshomo was from very rural area.
Just give me the percentage.
Now she's elected, but she was.
So if you don't have that representation, are you voting or not?
No, my president have said that we should actually support. So I will support. But I need the percentage.
I will give you the percentage. I will give you.
Yeah, you see, she will give me the percentage, and then I'll vote because our party, my party, Jubilee, support 100%.
It doesn't matter what you think after that.
Yes,
it doesn't matter what you think after that.
About what?
After that support, it doesn't matter what you think because from what you're saying,
that is why I'm
the representation.
I'm
you've actually said Ipite Yende Wapi.
I'm
now
giving the reservation
support. Yeah?
You know, it also will be
with the reservations.
Okay, I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. But again, it'll be very interesting to see how you vote. We're going to be at the lookout.